In this video, we're going to talk about different finishing treatment for your cabinets where it meets the wall. Hey, what's up everyone, Eric here. So today we're going to talk about these little scribe moldings and other ways that we could treat imperfect walls. So, commonly speaking, your walls are not going to be perfect. So I've got a 4-foot level here. And if I were to place this straight across on this wall, there's actually a little bit of a dip in the middle. And then if I were to put my level vertically here, it does this little swiggly thing. So it's a little bit of an S shape. It's not bad. It's maybe plus or minus 1/8 of an inch or so, which is perfectly reasonable. But the other thing about this wall is when I look at this level, the top end at the ceiling actually leans forward more so than at the bottom by a little over 1/8 of an inch. So again, this is perfectly within reasons for construction, especially if you're in an older house. They're going to settle over time. So even when it's perfect, brand new, it's still going to settle and it's going to be off a little bit. So that being the nature of houses that we live in, how do you address these imperfections? So when you install a brand new cabinet, your cabinets are going to be made square and perfectly straight. So when it meets the wall, oftentimes you see a little bit of a gap of imperfections there. So let's take a closer look at this wall behind me. So anything that's less than 1/8 of an inch, like if it's a 1/16 of an inch, I would say just paint and caulking really, that would address the issues. For this wall here, as I mentioned earlier, there's a little bit of a leaning forward action there. So when this cabinet was put in place, when that back corner is touching the wall, we actually had a little bit of a gap here. So a common way to address that for most more budget lines of cabinets, they would just say, here's a scribe molding. And scribe moldings are, let me explain what they are first. So they're usually just a small piece of wood trim, and they're maybe 1/4 of an inch thick in the back, and it's got some sort of tapering or some sort of round edge in the front. And they go on the wall like this. So when your cabinets are installed plumb and level, you will have this scribe that goes top to bottom. To me, I don't really love that look. I think it just draws more attention to the imperfection of the wall. So what I like to do instead is I order a side panel. So this is a 3/4 thick panel, and I would oversize it. So in this case, instead of a 24-inch cabinet, I would have a 25 or 26-inch panel, and then we would apply it to the side of the cabinet box. I usually like to keep the front edge of the panel to flush with the front edge of the door. And then where it meets the wall, your installer can just scribe the back of this here. So they would basically taper and tailor fit your side panel to the edge of your wall. Now, I like that because of two things. I think it looks cleaner when it's a full side panel that's going from top to floor. And then I also think that it looks better than having any scribe molding that you would apply on the wall. Now, some custom cabinet guys or some really high-end carpenters might say, well, why not just make the side panel of the cabinet deeper instead of applying an additional panel to the design? Now, that's perfectly fine too. Some of my clients do ask for that. But that would be a more custom thing where you're modifying the cabinet box to be deeper on the side. So that takes, number one, a very skilled carpenter. And number two, if we were to have an accident on site during the cut, as you can imagine, cutting a big bulky cabinet, and if you make the wrong cut, then there goes your cabinet and you have to buy a new cabinet, and then it takes a lot of time to remanufacture and all that. So instead, if the cabinet can still be in place, and then just maneuvering this piece of panel on a table saw or on a track saw, that would be a lot easier. So I like that a little bit better. It's a little bit more cost effective and kind of a best of both worlds type of scenario. So again, I would oversize the width and height of these panels, and I would use that for both your tall cabinets and base cabinets in general. For the upper cabinets, sometimes I leave them out because hopefully on a smaller stretch of the wall, when it's just 3 feet or so, you're not seeing as much imperfections, but if there is, then you can always use this as well. The other way to go about this is to use a decorative panel. You would then basically have a side that meets the wall that would be wider. So if in this case our design here is 2 3/4 on the side here, we would make this particular side on the left where it meets the wall, we'll make that extra deep. And that's good for designs where you're trying to dress up your sides of the cabinet to be matching to the front of the boxes. Yeah, so that's how I would go about treating the walls. And if you have any questions, please leave a comment below and I'll get back to you. Thanks for watching.